Hello everybody, happy Monday morning. So it's November, Halloween's over, and we have almost 2 months till Christmas, and I'm already starting to hear a lot of people talking about how they're excited for Christmas and they're looking forward to all the festivities. And then I'm starting to hear a little bit of, well, I would like to, do this change in my diet or my eating or my lifestyle, but I just don't feel like now is the right time because, I'm going to wait till the new year. So what I really want to talk to you about today is the number one reason why I think that starting a diet change at the new year is actually the worst time to start a diet change, and that November is actually a fantastic time to start making changes to your health. So whether it's, changing your eating plan because you need to, manage an autoimmune disorder or some kind of other physical illness, whether it's to improve or alleviate depression, anxiety, or whether it's to achieve your best body weight, now is the best time to do that. And the reason for that is because, first of all, you have all of November. There's not a whole lot going on. So it really gives you that chance to kind of set up those tools, strategies, habits, and so forth, where you're not going to be faced with a ton of socialization and so forth. And the other thing is that you might be thinking, I know, Lorraine, but like Christmas is coming and there's going to be so much festivities and parties and work parties and family. And, I just know that it's going to be impossible to manage, my eating at that time of the year. And this is what I have found working as an eating psychology specialist and nutritionist in recent years, is that one of the biggest factors or signs that we are engaging in diet dysfunction is when we start engaging in restriction and binging. So restriction often doesn't look like restriction at first. It's just restriction in terms of, I'm going to start this new diet or this new program. It could be something that's, really calorie deficit, which has all kinds of other concerns I'll talk about another time. Or it could be something like paleo, or some other type of, maybe I'm going to eliminate sugar. But there's lots of reasons why just restricting and being totally unreasonable with yourself actually sets you up for failure. In eating psychology, it's known that the moment that you start doing that, you're actually already engaging in the process of diet failure. Because the minute that you start restricting, every single time you will binge. It's totally unreasonable and inhuman to expect perfection. And most people, when they engage in traditional dieting, tend to do that. And so Christmas time can actually be a wonderful time to develop a really healthy relationship with food. It can be a wonderful time to start improving your habits, to get to know your triggers, to learn how to navigate those social situations. And that's why starting in November is a great time, because you start to put those habits in place, you start to identify those triggers, so that by the time Christmas time arrives, you have really developed those to a certain extent, and now you get to practice them. And will you fail? Of course you're going to fail. That's totally normal. I don't even like the word fail, because in my experience, slipping is absolutely necessary to be able to not only identify your triggers, but to learn what works for you to overcome those triggers, because it's going to be different for every single person. So basically the whole diet dysfunction thing really starts off with, this is what I tend to see right now at this time of the year, particularly in a few more weeks, is that people start to binge and kind of give themselves permission. Well, I might as well eat this while I can because, I won't have it later and so forth. And then, of course, New Year's comes along, we set our New Year's resolutions, and then there's a whole lot of restriction taking place. And that lasts a few weeks, but that's a terrible time to start a new diet, to start any kind of eating plan right off the bat from scratch, because it's cold, it's freezing, there's nothing to look forward to. I hate to say it, January and February, especially in Canada, are long months. That is a time when you're going to be seeking comfort food. So the last thing you want to be doing in January and February is doing some serious restriction and engaging in those habits, and then setting yourself up for failure and the shame cycle, and then the binging that always, always, always follows every single time. So I also want to talk about resistance, because that tends to be the other factor. Resistance, it's important to know, doesn't always look like resistance. So what happens with resistance and with eating and dieting and so forth is I often meet with clients who say, well, I would eat better, but the kids are still at home and their eating is horrible and they won't eat what I make, so it's just easier. Or, my husband has a horrible diet, or my job, or whatever. And all of those are reasons for sure. They're reasons that we need to navigate. But in my experience, resistance is, the first sign of resistance is blame, right? Because then we take the responsibility of whatever's going on in our life, whether it's with our relationship to food or whatever other positive change it is that we want to make, of why we can't make it. And we kind of, not usually knowing, we truly really often believe that there's no other way around it, you know? And so we blame either the situation, well, I can't right now because it's going to be Christmas time and there's going to be a lot of festivities. So it makes us kind of put it off yet again to a better time. And then we all feel like, you know, January, you can't come up with any more excuses. So we do that. We set our intentions, not knowing that we're really going in there, often setting ourselves up for failure because we just have these eating plans and diet plans and that are often very calorie focused. And there's not a whole lot of wisdom or tapping into our own body wisdom and intuition and so forth. So I really encourage you to, you know, consider making those changes in November to set yourself up. Basically, the idea that I teach in my eating psychology program, if you want to hop onto my website, you'll find a ton of information on there. And I have a program called Your Best Body and Brain Program. And that's the focus is your best body, right? Because not everyone should be, you know, a size 4 or size 6 or whatever, you know, media decides is the ideal, supposed ideal size. But, you know, basically if you are trying to constantly, you know, avoid all of these triggers and so forth, then that's going to be a really big challenge in terms of ever making any sustainable changes. So now really is the best time to try to, you know, put those practices in place and so forth, and avoid the kind of binging, restriction, all that, those types of behaviors that have always held you back, because it's really easy to blame ourselves and think that it's our fault. But it's not. It's food addiction. There's a lot of factors that come into play. And what I teach my clients is learn to eat healthy every day. Sure, Christmas holidays are coming up, but you know what? You're not going to be eating out every single day of December, right? So eat healthy most of December and then practice eating better during the rest of December, you know, and eat like whatever you want at Christmas time. You know, I always overeat at Christmas time, overeat at January 1st or December 31st, and then bring yourself back to that balance or equilibrium. Don't give yourself permission to binge. The minute you catch yourself giving yourself permission to binge, that's the moment that you are engaging in diet dysfunction. That's definitely positively what you want to avoid. So if you are interested in more information regarding my program, there's currently a promo, for $967. Normally it's $1167, and that includes all kinds of resources, support, one-on-one meeting throughout a course of 6 months and so forth. It's tailored to you. I don't tell you this is the type of diet you need to follow. We base it on your bio-individual you know, needs and so forth and preferences. And we do all kinds of nutritional assessments to determine what is your body type and what type of diet is going to be ideal for you. So if you're interested, pop onto my website, www.lorrainedriscoll.com. For more information. I'll put the link below, and have a great Monday, everyone. And really consider, you know, changing that eating just one step at a time. Bye. Take care.